From Los Angeles, California, Henry Lowen. From Chicago, Illinois, Morrie Oppenheim. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the beautiful Emerson Lanes in the industrial city of Parkersburg, West Virginia, here in the heart of the Ohio Valley. It's Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, the world's greatest bowlers in action every week, over $75,000 in prizes. This is Fred Wolf. We have two more of our field of 24 of these great stars in a three-game match, $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. All this competition is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress. 300 games are worth $10,000. On top of that, a $250 bonus for 5 strikes in a row in any one game, $50 more for every strike on top of those 5. This week looks like a pretty good match. Maury Oppenheim from Chicago, Hank-Lauman from Los Angeles, California. Ready for the first game of 3 in just a moment. Morrie Oppenheim of Chicago won the toss. Morrie elected to start on the right side. He wants to finish on the left, lane 37 in the first and third game. All games start from the left. That puts Hank-Lauman on the left side, and he leaves a pretty good 7-pin. Looked like a very good hit. Not enough action on the 5 going through to the 7. Hank-Lauman for 21 games on championship bowling over the years. Hank-Lauman averaging 199. His high single has been 247. His high series 663. He covers the spare. And we take a look at Morrie Oppenheim, a Chicago boy, born in Chicago in 1936, averaging 207 for 9 games. Morrie won his first match, defeating Joe Donato. Morrie had 648. Lowen was the loser to Andy Marsich. Very deep angle, and Morrie doesn't get there, leaves the number 2 pin. Here's a fella, if you had a chance to see him on previous championship bowling series, used to weigh about 220, 225 pounds, wore horn rim glasses. Here he is now, a trim 182 pounds, says he doesn't have to wear glasses. He can see better than ever. So that might be a tip to watch your weight. Get out and do a little bowling. You can get as trim as Morrie. Both boys with spares in the first frame. Working with us this week, the youngster from New Jersey, Dick Downey. Richard, welcome to Championship Bowling.
Thank you, Fred.
A little different than being a bowler, isn't it?
Yes, it's a little bit different.
Well, we'll watch these boys and see what happens. Oppenheim, gotta hurry. He doesn't get there. Both boys very cautious here in the opening frames. First game of 3. $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. Oppenheim, who opened his last match against Joe Donato in his first appearance with 245, he followed with 224. Had a little trouble in the last game, 179. He got out with 648. So this boy in contention to be a finalist, the 2 and the 5, and he covers. Correction, that was the 4-8. Johnny Milanese, our statistician, just corrected the situation. Thank you, John. 4-8. Much like the 2-5. Lowen throws, and Mr. Lowen leaves a solid 10. Lowen moving left. Both these lanes conditioned as usual for every match. We don't make it easy for them. There's the cover. Using brand new AMF tournament grade pins, all registered sets and matched weights. The boys, of course, have had all the opportunity to practice, but sometimes when the cameras start to roll, things get just a little more difficult. The line gets finer, and the boys pinch it a little bit. Lowen could have himself a couple. Henry seems to be throwing a pretty tight line.
Playing close to the third arrow, Fred, and going pretty straight with the ball.
Morrie's
could have had 3.
Morrie's more of the swing type. There's a solid 10-pin. At the 10, look out. Oh, man, that pin is still in the channel. He just got a very small piece of it. But Oppenheim has his spare. Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Oppenheim too high, leaves the 3-pin. Morrie throws the 3-finger ball, very wide span, fingertip. Laumen, as we like the class, Hank, from the old school. Morrie, one of the youngsters coming up. Started bowling as a high school student in 1950. Averaged 181 his first year. At the 2-pin, he has the spare 3-pin. Laumen on the right, on a strike. First double of the match.
Looks good.
Let's watch it. Well, there's another solid 10, and Mr. Laumen unable to get loose. 4 in a row in the pocket. What causes a 10-pin leave like that, Dick?
Well, it's hard to explain, Fred, especially on a full pocket hit like that. We more or less like to think it's just a bad break because there's no adjustment for a hit like that.
At the 10-pin, Laumen covers and moves left. When you're throwing 4 in a row in the pocket like Laumen has here to start the match, this can be a little, you can sort of say, bowler can say to himself, what am I going to do? I can't get a strike. Get a little down, get careless. And Mr. Laumen did. He threw that one out too far, the 1, the 2, and the 8. Hank throws one of the slowest balls, I believe, in our entire field of 24 stars here. Hank still doesn't throw much break, throws the ball very slow, but he seems to know where he's throwing it. The 1, the 2, and the 8. He better hurry. He's got it.
That ball was rolling real well to carry out the 8-pin.
Maury Oppenheim from Chicago. That could be the ball. There we are. So at the end of 5, here in the first game, Oppenheim is 76 strike. Laumen is 76 spare. Oppenheim with a chance to take the lead. He's too high, breaks it up to 6-10. Morrie's a 4-stepper, a professional bowler. In 1960, won a professional bowlers event in Torrance, California, the Southern California Open. In 1958, he was the Detroit News Motor Bowl runner-up. He won the Illinois doubles title with his teammate Larry Clays in 1958. A real hard worker, this guy. He's got the spare. A great student of the game, and bowling with a veteran campaigner like Hank-Lauman, I'm sure that this will go down in Morrie's book of experience. We're in the 6th for Lauman. Better hurry, Henry. Gets it up there and shakes one up. So Lauman, unable to carry the solid hits, gives one a little room and shakes one up. At the end of 6, we're all even to the pin. Morrie had the advantage in the 6th. He was on a strike in the 5th. Now Lowen has the advantage. He is on the strike in the 6th against Oppenheim's spare. Now Lowen missed the head pin here in the 5th. This time, right there, number 2.
That was real solid, Fred. Hank has hit the pocket 6 out of 7 shots. And just now has gotten his first double in the 7th frame.
Well, the tendency there, Dick, after missing the head pin in the 5th, was to possibly push it up, but he held the line beautifully. Oppenheim throws. He's there. So the young Chicagoan now getting into position. He has 3 frames left. Chance for the bonus money. Oppenheim now, his second opportunity for the double. He'll never make it. Oh, almost got a pretty good piece of it at that, leaving the 4-pin. That ball moved pretty good, Dick.
That one really came in on the end. Well, Maury throws a very strong ball, and he does get very good pin action. He could have carried that one.
Maury has a 700 total to his credit on Chicago television. Shot 717. His high on championship bowling is 648. There's the cover. So Maury now has had 2 chances for his double, has missed both times. Lowen, on his second chance, picked up his double as he moves in the 8th frame, working on 2 strikes. And a chance to add 10 more pins to his margin. That will never get there. Henry seemed to drift a bit. The 2-4-5.
Yes, it looked like he drifted a little bit to the right and didn't come out of the ball free, Fred. He didn't have that stroke that he had in the last 2 frames.
On the outside. All right, going away. And the exclusive Amf Spear Maker indicated the ball between the 2-5 looked like Henry didn't want to take any chances. The lanes seem to be just a little slick here this week, and the boys are holding the tight line. A little concerned on spares like the 2-4-5 or cross-lane shots. We're in the 9th. Lowen throws, sets, and the 9 pin is down, and Henry has another strike. 4-9 almost. He kicked the 4 immediately, and the 9 got the nice friendly little nudge, and Mr. Lowen sits on a strike in the 9th as Morrie Oppenheim moves in, extreme left side of the approach. Shooting for that 3rd diamond, the tight line. He's right over it. And there's the result, a beautiful strike. Both boys on strikes. That's the place to get it, in the 9th. You can do a lot with it. Morrie, potentially, 216. This one?
Little full.
Too high again. The roller, not enough, 610.
He pushed it a little bit close, but couldn't knock it over.
So Morrie's been high on his easy side. On the nose in the 4th, left the 3-pin. He was on the nose in the 6th, left the 6-10. He did throw one out in the 8th, couldn't get the shaker, left the 4-pin, and now high again in the 10th. The 6 and the 10, and he covered. The count, 196, without a double, losing only 4 pins in count. There, 4 pins, solid. That's the first one, actually, he's had in on the left side. 195 for Oppenheim. Hank-Lauman now with another chance to build up a little lead here. He was short in the 8th on the right side, left the 2-4-5. This one's going to be up right on the Brooklyn side. He doesn't get across, leaves the 3-pin. I'm going to have to ask you, Dick, as I did Lindy Faragelli recently, you being from New Jersey, too. It's definitely a Brooklyn hit over on the 1-2 with you fellas, isn't it?
Yes, that's for sure, Fred.
There's a cover. And I understand in Brooklyn they call that 1-2 hit a Jersey.
A Jersey.
A Jersey. Hank-Lauman winning the first game. Haven't had an open frame. Both boys very cautious. The count here, 203. This will give Lauman a lead of just 8 pins at the end of the first game. There it is. So Lowen shakes another one up for the full count for 203. Maury Oppenheim 195. That's the end of the first game. 2 more games to follow. $1,000 to the winner. Both these boys, as usual on championship bowling, wearing the matching King Louis bowling shirt and slack. It's the choice of the champions. The scores for the first game, Morrie Oppenheim 195. No open frames. Hank-Lauman 203, 1 double, no open frames. The margin is 8 pins. Lowen out in front. Hank with 5 strikes, Maury with 3 strikes. We're ready for the second game, Parkersburg. Are you all ready? Morrie Oppenheim from Chicago, trailing 8 pins. Neither boy has had an open frame. 1 double. Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Oppenheim on the nose. He has the 6-7 split wide open. And here's a pretty tough shot.
Maury looked like he rushed that one a little bit, Fred, and did not get the ball out in front of him. As a consequence, he ended up heavy on the head pin.
Great try. A bit too much of that 6-pin, and Maury is open in the first frame. A chance for Lowen to add to his margin. 8 pins. We're in the second game of 3. Both these boys making their second appearance. Total pins for 6 games will qualify the 2 finalists here at the beautiful Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg, West Virginia, in the heart of the Ohio Valley, here on the banks of the Ohio River. Very beautiful part of the country. Cross lane, the 10-pin, Hank-Lauman. He's looked at this one twice. Here's the 3rd shot. He's made the ball. So Henry has picked up another 10 pins. As he moves to the left, all competition moves from right to left, our right. Every game is started on the left side, or the odd alley. Then, of course, each man bowls 2 complete frames throughout the remainder of the game. The advantage in winning the toss, it gives you the choice of finishing on your favorite lane twice in the first and third game. Lowen is in again. So Hank has been in that pocket most of the time. He's been short twice. He was a little high in the 10th frame. He started the first game with 4 good pocket hits. He started this one with 2. He's carried the second. Here is Morrie Oppenheim in the second frame, trailing by 11 pins. There's a nice kick. Maury's still crowding a bit, Dick, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that ball was a little full on the right side, Fred, but it had nice roll on it, and it kicked out the 4 and 10 pins. Maury seems to be hitting the right side much better than the left side, although, like you say, he won a toss and elected to finish on the left side. Let's see what he can do here now.
Actually, he hasn't had a strike here on the left side. There, he gave that one some room. There it is. Well, Maury feeling that he's gone quite a long time here without getting the strike on the lane that he feels is the easier of the 2. This could get him loose, and he might keep going. Here's Lowen in the 3rd. Henry sets it. He's there. Boy, a lot of action. And that slower ball of Lowen's on the thin hit looks very effective here this week.
And that ball was really rolling to sweep out the 5 into the 7 on a thin hit.
Lowen to the left on the double. The margin, 19 pins. Will it be 3? There we are. So Mr. Lowen is in pretty good shape here in game number 2, working on 3, and of course a chance for the bonus money. He needs 2 more. Look out too high, the 6-10, and Maury unable to keep that string going, ending at 2. Maury attended the DePaul Academy, Roosevelt University in Chicago. His hobby, and I'm sure one of the only one of our entire field, his hobby is riding horses. And also, look out, he's got it. Also, guns. He's a member of a fast draw club. In fact, he met his wife at a riding academy. And the story, of course, on Maury, and a lot of the boys like to kid him about it, he once shot himself. The bullet went through his thigh and then glanced off his kneecap. He drew very fast, but I guess he didn't know the gun was loaded, Dick.
That's right, Fred.
Hurry up. Oh, look at that. So Oppenheim now has gained the courage over there on the left side, giving that ball a little room, and gets another strike in the fifth as Lowen moves in on the right. He's on 3. Lowen out in front. That'll have to set. It does. He's there. One more. So at the end of 5, Lowen, spare in the first, works on 4. Oppenheim, 77, with a strike in the 5th. Hank-Lauman from Los Angeles on 4. This is the one for the bonus money. Throws, he's in, carries it, 5 in a row. Henry is long gone now, as Maury Oppenheim has his hands full with his veteran from Los Angeles, California, the 1963 runner-up to Andy Marcich for the Los Angeles match game title. Oppenheim on a strike in the 6th, very deep. Sets one. He's there, and he's got the 8 out of there. Oh! Well, there was a perfect example of what the boys talk about, Dick, in that there's really only one tap, and that's the 8-pin. Had that 8-pin stayed up there, that would have to have been a tap, right?
That's right, Fred. That was real solid.
What pin knocked that 8 out of there? I don't know where that came from.
It looked like it might have been the 9-pin sliding across.
We're in the 7th. Oppenheim on 2. He gives it room. He's there. He's in that pocket for his triple. And now all eyes will be on Hank-Lauman. Morrie Oppenheim gets the 3rd one. Hank-Lauman moves in the 7th, and Hank works on 5. Number 6. Lauman is in there. And that puts Mr. Lowen in the $300 bracket, 5 in a row, every strike from here on worth $50 additional, and Mr. Lowen piling himself up quite a margin. Oppenheim works on 3. Lowen moves left, working on 6. Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, the world's greatest bowlers in match game competition. Lowen will have to dig. He gets there, and look at that action. 2 pins right in front of the 7. Dick, how about that?
That was a tough break, Fred. It could have carried. The ball was really rolling, and Hank is really looks good out there now.
Looked like the 4-pin and possibly the head pin right in front of the 7. Lowen covers, and Henry has been in that pocket all the way. He left a solid 10-pin in the first frame, then 6, and leaves the 7 on the shaker. It's a life for Morrie Oppenheim. Maury is on 3. 2 turns on the lanes. If Maury gets this one, bonus money around the corner, and there it is. As now the young Chicagoan moves left, knocking on the bonus door department. 4 in a row. Beautiful game going here. Number 5. He's there. So the boys are really cashing in. And Maury displaying that strong right arm. Boy, he really sailed that one, didn't he, Dick?
Yes, Freddie.
That was much more speed than we've looked at.
I believe he was a little deep with both shots, but he did have the speed to hold it into the pocket.
In the 9th, Lowen too high. Look out. He breaks it up, 6-10. And Henry's satisfied with that result.
That's only the 3rd ball that Hank has had out of the pocket in 19 frames.
And I believe both of them have been here on the right side. He had the 6-10 in the 10th frame on a strike in the first game. Cross lane, good turn, covers the 2. Nice shot. So Lowen moves to the left. Still a potential 257. If Hank goes all the way, Oppenheim goes all the way, we could have a tie game at 257. Lowen had an 8-pin advantage at the end of the first game. And Oppenheim coming from behind, watching his opponent with 6 in a row. And Lowen is high. He is open in the 10th, spoiling a beautiful game. And Maury Oppenheim can actually take the lead if he can pile 2 more strikes on top of his string of 5 here in the 10th frame.
Hank was a little slow with that ball.
Shooting for 1. The 4-pin is out. So Lowen settling for 234. $300 in bonus money. Maury Oppenheim needs this one to match the $300 in the bonus department. And this strike will put him right in the running. He's got to have it. He's got it. And, brother, he threw that one overhand. That ball didn't travel on more than 3 boards all the way down, Dick.
That's right, Fred. He really has a lot of pep now. The 7-pin was the last one to go down, but it went down.
Well, that gives Oppenheim the lead. He's trailed all the way. A string of 6. This one for 257. This will be the highest game that Maury has ever rolled on championship bowling. Got to have it. Sets it. He's there, and the 4-9 looked at him. Nothing but the 4-pin. So it looks like 6 in a row is the limit here. These boys stopping at 6. Lowen with a 4-6 split. Oppenheim almost a 4-9. He was in there pretty tight. So we have a real dinger going here. It looks like it's going to be very close. Oppenheim will have about a 4-pin advantage at the end of 2. Nice shot. Oppenheim in the 10th got the first one for 246. Hank-Lauman 234. Here are the scores at the end of the second game for Hank-Lauman, 203. His second game, 234, with a big split in the 10th frame. His total, 437. For Maury Oppenheim, 195 and 246, with a big split in the first frame. His total, 441. The margin is only 4 pins. Both boys have 11 strikes in the 2 games. Maury picking up 8 strikes, and Lowen 6 strikes in the second game. They both cashed in the bonus department with 6 strikes in a row. The third game to follow, it's a big one, only 4 pins. How about that second game, ladies and gentlemen? Did you enjoy that? The third and final game on Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, the world's greatest bowlers in match game competition. Hank-Lauman from Los Angeles, off with a strike. Hank-Lauman, who went into the 10th frame with a possible 250 game, wide open, the 4-6 split. Oppenheim started the second game with a 6-7 split. Then the boys began to string them out, both with 6 in a row, 234 for Lauman, 246 for Oppenheim. Maury bellies one. It's got room. He's in and he carries. Well, Maury got a very slow start. In the first game, he filled all 10 frames. He was unable to get the double, but he certainly has straightened himself out. Dick Downey from Newark, New Jersey, sitting in with us this week. Just what do you think the big change was as far as Oppenheim's concerned here in the past 2 games?
Well, I think that he developed a little bit more speed to hold the ball in the pocket, Fred. Both boys look real good now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat their scores from last game.
Look at that boy throw that ball. Maury Oppenheim, a fella that used to tip the scales at 225 pounds. Used to wear horn-rimmed glasses at all times. Now he's down to 180. He says he can see better than ever. No glasses. Look out, Henry, the 4 and the 7.
Hank didn't stay with that ball, and as a result, pulled it into the nose.
So Oppenheim now, who trailed all the way through the first 2 games until the 10th frame when Lowen was open, Maury getting his 6th strike in a row in the 10th to take the lead, Now we'll add another 20 pins to his margin with the double as Lowen moves to the left. Hank-Lauman, this fella has accomplished many things over the years. He was born in St. Louis in 1919, moved to California in 1948. He was a member of the great Herman team of St. Louis many years ago. Won the St. Louis match game title 3 times. A little tight. Mr. Lowen is open. The 4, 7, and the 10. Hank seems to be trying to fit them in here this game, Dick.
That's right, Fred. Gives Maury a chance to really pull out with another strike. Looked like Hank squeezed that one just a little bit. He's giving it a try. Oh!
Well, he got just a little too much of the 4-pin. Morrie Oppenheim now trying to take advantage. Morrie is on 2. Third diamond, sets it, and kicks the 4. Oh, this kid is really sailing here now. And he has a big smile for somebody in the audience here in Parkersburg, West Virginia. In his first appearance against Joe Donato of Schenectady, New York, Oppenheim was big at the start. He started with 245 and 224, had trouble the last game, 179. This appearance, he opened with 195, and he really is finishing. 246 on 3, too tight, the 6-10 on his favorite side. Morrie just didn't give that ball a chance.
That's right, he didn't get it out in front of him, Fred, because he didn't stay with the ball. Just rushed it a little bit.
Now, you boys use the phrase, didn't stay with the ball. Just explain that to us.
Well, Fred, that's just before the explosion point when your thumb comes out before your fingers. Instead of staying down and keeping your left knee bent, you pull up.
You pull up. In other words, raising the head before the ball is delivered is a very common fault then for even the professionals.
Especially when you want to strike.
We're in the 4th. Look out. Too tight. Mr. Lowen duplicates the 3rd frame, the 4, 7, 10. Henry gave this one a good try. Let's see what he can do with it this time.
It's pretty hard to throw 2, 4, 7, 10s in a row, even when you're trying for them.
Well, I don't think he was trying to get another one, that's for sure. The 4, 7, 10. Lowen gives it the try. And close enough, but not good enough. And Henry now is open 2 straight frames. Mr. Oppenheim beginning to pull away with only 6 frames remaining. Hank's great hobby is golf. Hank was quite a ball player, played semi-pro baseball, was a pretty good hitter. From the left side of the plate, he plays golf, left-handed. There it is. Well, just a matter of giving that ball a little room to work, and Henry didn't do that in the 3rd and 4th frames. Morrie was 648 in his first out, on his way to a nice 1,300 total. Too high, 4-6, up jumped the devil.
It was 2 shots in a row, the same way for Morrie. Just a little bit too fast with his footwork.
Takes the 4, and Oppenheim open in the 5th. There is life for Hank-Lauman. At the end of 5 in this game number 3, Lauman is 55 on the strike. Oppenheim open in the 5th with 105. We're in the 6th. Oppenheim gives it the room this time after being on the nose in the 4th and 5th. Got it out a little too far. The 2-4-5-8. They call this one the bucket. And the exclusive Amf Spear Maker indicates put the ball between the 2 and the 5. And then, of course, hope that it'll go on through and hit the 8.
Very tough spare. Morrie over-adjusted himself that shot after being heavy for two frames in a row.
Right in the middle. Oh, there was no doubt about that one. So Lowen, with a strike going for him in the 5th, can pull within 20 pins of Oppenheim. He trailed by 4. This strike would put Hank much in the running, but it's a big ball for Lauman. Get it up there. 10 pins stops him. Little soft. That's what we call the in-betweener, Dick.
The in-betweener. Sometimes that's the one, if you carry it, will get you going, and Hank surely could have used it that frame.
Cross lane. This is Lauman's 4th 10-pin. He's made them all. Nice shot. Lauman now moves to the left. We're at the end of 6 in the 3rd and final game. Fred Wolf, along with Dick Downey at the Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg, West Virginia. It's Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show. We'll be back for the 2nd game after this message. Lauman in again on the left side. So for Henry, with a strike here, in the 7th, 3 frames to go, still a chance to cash in the bonus department, and he's going to need a couple more for the $1,000. That's better. 4-pin out. So Morrie, who had 648 in his first appearance, going into the 3rd game with 441, still a potential 245, which would give Morrie about 680. 680 on top of his 640, around 1320. That's possible with 3 frames to go. We could see this fella in the finals, but he needs some strikes. Too high again, the 3, 6, 10, and Morrie knew he made the big mistake. Three, 6, 10, cross lane. How does this pair stack up with you, Dick? Pretty tough for you?
This is another toughie, Fred. Very easy to chop. You have to hit it just right.
Be careful.
3-pin. 6 right around the 10.
There you are. He put that ball between the 3 and 6, but a little too much of the 3. The 10 stands. It's life for Hank-Lauman from Los Angeles, California. Hank will get another chance. He was on a strike. This strike will make it very close. Too tight, tight, almost. Leaves nothing but the 4-pin. So Lauman, who was a little on the in-between side in the 6, left the soft 10-pin, thought he'd fit that one. Too tight, leaves the 4. The best he can do is pick up 10 pins. The margin will be right around 20 pins with 2 frames to go. Oppenheim out in front. Both of these boys making their 2nd appearance. Maury Oppenheim still in contention. Fellas like Andy Marsich from Los Angeles, a very close friend, incidentally, of Hank-Lauman's, a traveling buddy of his, has 740 going. Dave Sutar, the young Detroiter, 705 going. Carmen Salvino, 691. 4-pin again. That looked like a pretty good hit. Ron Winger from Los Angeles with 686. 2-time national singles champion Dick Weber has 670. Fred Lenning, 648. The 4-pin, Lauman in the 9th. Henry needed that strike to work out. So the young Chicagoan now moving in on the right side. Led the Chicago All-Star Classic in 1960 with a 208 average. Very popular young fella on the PBA Professional Tour. In the 9th, wants the strike. There it is. So Maury Oppenheim now, with his first one in the 10th, can just about close the door on Hank-Lauman. Lots of room. He's got it, and that's it. And Oppenheim opened in the 10th, 181. Lauman had a chance to go all the way for 184. The margin actually could have been 1 pin. Morrie Oppenheim winning his 2nd match on championship bowling, and he almost got away with that. He dropped it, and there's an interesting little picture of a strike of a ball going in the 1-3 pocket. But obviously, Maury did not deliver it correctly. It got out of his hand, and the action was not there due to the ball getting away from him.
That's right, Fred. The only reason it hit the pocket was because he had the right line on it. One board either way, and he would have been off.
But the spin was not on the ball. No action. Maury covers. His last game, 202. That'll give Maury 643 in this appearance, 648 in his first appearance, 1291. 4-7, kicks it out. Hank-Lauman, the Southern California match game champion 5 times. Hank has bowled 37 300 scores. And Dick, when you've been around as long as this fella, you'll probably have 37 300 scores also.
Well, I don't know about that, Fred. It's a lot of
Going on the
300s.
Joyce. Didn't get there, 610. Sitting in with us this week, young Dick Downey from Newark, New Jersey, who is an up-and-coming youngster. Dick, how old are you?
25 now, Fred.
25. Well, you've got another 25 years out in front of you.
That's the good thing about this game of bowling. You're never too young or never too old.
The 6 and the 10, and Lauman covers the 2. Another great match here on championship bowling from the Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Fred Wolf, along with Dick Downey, will be back for the 3rd, the big game, $1,000 to the winner, right after some interesting words. Here are the official scores. Hank-Lauman, 203, 234, and 174. His total, 611. For Maury Oppenheim, 195, 246. The last game, 202. The total, 643. The winner, Morrie Oppenheim. Did you enjoy this one, ladies and gentlemen? Taking a look at the totals for 6 games, Hank-Lauman, 1182. Maury Oppenheim, who came in with 648, his 643 gives him 1291 for his 6 games. And we just possibly could see Maury again in the finals. Let's call out the runner-up from Los Angeles, California, the great Hank-Lauman. Henry? Morning, boys. I call you Henry occasionally, and John Milanese up there, my statistician, thought I was making a mistake. Now, that is your real name, isn't it?
That's
Henry?
right,
Got
Fred.
to be
It is
Henry with Hank.
I think you've been calling me Henry for about 25 years, haven't you?
Well, I do that because I'm sure nobody else does, and I like to be a little different than anyone else. Is that all right? I know everybody calls you Hank.
Just about everybody, Fred, but a few guys like you. And
Like, yeah, the old-timers, yeah.
Right.
From the old
Us old guys,
school.
yeah.
Us old guys. Now, we refer to you as from the old school, and we have, and your opponent here this week, we'd have to refer him to the new school, correct?
That's right. He would be in, he'd be a little bit ahead of Davy. I think Davy Sutor, we would say, would be from the real new school.
Real new
Fred.
school. Now, how do
Morrie
you...
is the in-betweener.
How do you compare styles going back to your day and my day to these young fellas that are coming up making it so difficult for you?
Well, Freddie, today the boys have got a stroke on the ball. Every one of them are more or less controlling the swing of the arm, whereas when we started out, we used to have to more or less adjust with spinning the ball more or looping the ball a little bit more. Wasn't that right? Don't you think that's what it was,
I
Fred?
would say. Of course, the young fellas seem to all be going for the fingertip, the wide span. I see you're still sticking to the conventional grip.
That's right. I'm just a little bit wider than a conventional, Fred, about 3/16. Almost conventional.
Hank, you hit the bonus department this appearance. You got away from me the last time.
That's right.
There's $300 for your 6 in a row.
I'll take it.
$500 as the runner-up. And that ought to get you back to Los Angeles.
Sure will, Fred.
In good shape. Henry Lauman, ladies and gentlemen, from Los Angeles. Have a nice trip. Well, let's call up the winner from Chicago, Maury Oppenheim. Maury? Didn't bring your guns with you this week.
No, I've got them home.
Little fast draw exhibition here might fit. A little out of the realm of bowling, but how good are you with that draw business?
Well, I was averaging about 3/500ths of a second with reaction time, hitting a target.
Just a minute. 3/500ths of a second reaction time and hitting a target. And we're not talking about bowling now, in case somebody just tuned in. We're talking about fast draw.
Yeah, they have a silhouette target about, I think it's about 30 feet away from you. It has lights in the eyes, and every time the eyes light up, the clock starts, and you draw and fire, and when you hit the target, it stops. And they check you on your time that way.
I understand you'd like to try that when I'm wearing my peakies up there working. You wanted to put the lights
You weren't
out.
talking nice about me. I might do that one of these days.
Maury, in your first appearance, you had 4 in a row twice. You're unable to get the 5th one. This week, you got your 4, and you put 2 more on top. What was the problem in your first appearance? You tighten up a little bit, maybe? You want that 5th one?
Well, I wanted that 5th one real bad, and I have a tendency, as you probably notice, I slow up a lot when I need one.
Dick Downey pointed that out. He said that the first game you were a little slow. Second game you had all the speed in the world with the 240 game after starting with a split, and then you slowed down a little in the third game.
Yeah.
You get tired?
Like this?
I have got to mention one thing. I did mention it up there. You folks that have watched championship bowling over the years might remember this fellow when he was, what was your waistline?
About 40.
About 40. What is it now?
32.
32. Isn't that marvelous, ladies and gentlemen? This is not easy. He used to wear glasses. He says he can see better than ever, and he's bowling better than ever. So don't get too fat. Is that right?
That's right.
Maury?
Stay slim and trim.
Stay slim and trim. $300 bonus money, $1,000. That's 2 matches you've won. Good luck.
Thank you,
Stick
Fred.
around. You might be here for the finals.
I'll wait for a while.
Morrie Oppenheim from Chicago. With us this week again is Pat Patterson, and I believe, Pat, you're going to talk a little bit about the exclusive Amf Spear Maker, which we have been talking about here. You have some inside information. Going to show us how it works.
I'd love to, Fred. I've got a few little tips on it.
Go right ahead.
As you may well know, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of spares are missed through throwing the ball from an improper angle. So AMF has come up with this Spear Maker with the ball path indicator. It takes all the guesswork out of picking spares. Let's look at a couple spares we have here. First of all, let's look at the 4-5, the baby split. The only possible way to pick this split is by putting the ball between the 4 and the 5. Now, if you were out here and could see the color we have here, we have a colored arrow on the pindicator, and back here on the approaches, we have colored dots. We see that the arrow going between the 4 and the 5 pin is blue. So we come back here on the approach, we find the blue dot on the approach. We put our right or left foot, whatever foot we spot with, on this dot. We walk towards our spare and try to roll the ball between the 4 and the 5, following the path of this arrow. If we do it properly, we'll pick the spare. 10 more pins on your average. Another spare we have that we leave quite a bit is the 5 and the 9. Again, in color, we see that this arrow is red. It's actually the arrow that we shoot for when we try to get a strike, going between the 1 and the 3. So we come back here on the approach. Again, we hunt for the red dot. Here we see we've got 3 of them. 1 in the center and 1 on either side. So we pick the one in the center, place our body right above that red dot in the center, roll the ball more or less for the strike, and we should set the ball between the 5 and the 9, picking both pins with the ball. And again, if we pick this rather than miss it, we've got 10 more pins on average. 2 more spares a game, 20 more pins.
Very good, Pat. It all adds up, as you say, to 20 pins a game. Now, how about your game? Do you ever miss a spare?
Quite often, Fred, but whenever I miss it, I say it's one thing. It's just lack of concentration. Sometimes you get a spare, you feel like it's so simple you don't aim, you just go up there and throw the ball, and it's positive laziness.
In other words, you got to concentrate all the time, and of course, between the Spear Maker and the colored dots, this gives you something to concentrate on. Isn't that the idea?
It very definitely helps, and especially for the beginners, it shows them the proper angle to shoot their spares from, where to stand and how to walk.
Thank you very much. Pat Patterson, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back anytime. Well, we'll repeat the scores here this week. Hank-Lauman from Los Angeles with 611. The winner was Maury Oppenheim from Chicago with 643. Hope you can join us again next week when Championship Bowling, television's #1 bowling show, with over $75,000 in prizes, will again originate here at the beautiful Emerson Lanes in Parkersburg, West Virginia, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Until next week, this is Fred Wolf, just reminding you once again that you don't have to play a sport good to be a good sport. Goodbye. Multiple sclerosis causes more chronic disability among young adults than any other disease of the central nervous system. Contribute generously to your nearest MS chapter. We'll have a word or two with these 2 fine bowlers in just a moment. Thanks for Dick Downey for sitting in with us this week. This is Fred Wolf. Right after this message, we'll be right back. Don't go away. We have something very interesting coming up. Championship bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, and we wish to thank AMF for their cooperation in helping us to produce championship bowling.